Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. The topic before us today is taking a look at cybersecurity, the challenges and solutions. And we do know that there is the need to understand the evolving world of cybersecurity. We need to know the risks, the innovations, and the strategies needed to stay one step ahead of cyber threats. And what are some of the misconceptions that we have involving issues around cybersecurity, especially now that we are in the ember months where it is believed that so many issues also happen on the digital space. Our guest is here today, and together we'll be taking a look at what you and I should take cognizance of, especially when we're dealing, of course, on the cyberspace. Join us this morning as a welcome Edward Onyenweaku is a cybersecurity expert. Thank you, Edward, for being here today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Right. Let's start this way. Of course, a lot of people hear about cybersecurity. A lot of people, have a fair idea of what cybersecurity really is. But if we take a look at the advent of cybersecurity in Nigeria and where we are at the moment, what would you say has changed in the understanding or in the everyday understanding of what cybersecurity really is?
Thank you for that question. Let me start by appreciating your management. It's my pleasure to always be here to discuss these important subjects. And I think Lagos Television has done well by always creating awareness to the society. It's a fantastic one.
Thank you.
Back to the question you asked me, in terms of cybersecurity, let me put it this way. The reason why you talk about cybersecurity is because there's technology. As a matter of fact, everything connected is hackable. So if there is no connection, you can't talk about cybersecurity.
Okay.
So that gives a sort of background to what has happened, because if you look at not just Nigeria, Africa, and the globe, there has been drastic change because innovation comes up every day. Things are changing every day because it's a digital world. Things are being driven by technology.
Right.
Businesses are being powered by technology. So that being the case, as innovation grows, as technology advances, then the issue of cybersecurity also grows. The moment you innovate, the moment you bring a new technology, there is always a potential default loophole that can be compromised.
Okay.
So what has happened is that because of the advancement in technology and digital space, cybersecurity has grown drastically. As a matter of fact, let me put it this way, just like breathing and eating, which are essential to survival, nobody can survive without eating and breathing. So in today's digital space, no business, even here in Nigeria, can survive without adequate consideration for cybersecurity.
Right.
So if you ask me, compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it's been a very drastic, shift. Today, Nigeria loses about $500 million to cybercrime. Yearly. Okay. Yes. Africa as a whole loses about $4 billion. So convert what Nigeria is losing to Naira. That's about 750 billion that is being lost to cybercrime.
Wow.
It's different from what you had 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where banks are being compromised physically.
Right.
But today is now in the digital space. So all the crime takes place
on that space.
Crime.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I do agree with you that we live in a digital world today, and we cannot lag behind as a country. But most of the things that we do these days, whether business or personal, they are driven by internet, and you are forced to share certain information and data about yourself. So how careful should one be while sharing this information and data in such a way that you will not make yourself vulnerable or the target of cyber criminals?
Very good question. You see, let's look at the top 4, what we call it cyber vectors, okay, or sources that has led to compromise. Number 1, you hear what is called phishing today. Okay, so phishing, like I send you an email, okay, you've won visa to Dubai. Meanwhile, you never apply for any visa. And I say, click or download the attachments to claim your visa. And you click. Before you know it, a malicious code is being installed on your system. And your system is being compromised. You hear what is called ransomware attack, where malicious code come to kidnap your file, the word ransom. So the malicious code come to steal your file, encrypt your files, and you're asked to pay to redeem your file. So basically, if you look at the entire ecosystem and what has been happening, you see that most of the compromises are human engineered. What that simply means is that you have technology that powers, the digital space. But again, there's a human side of it. Okay? As a matter of fact, 80% of the attack you see today are from human side. So people are not paying attention to these details. Number one factor is what is called greed.
Greed. Which
has led to a lot of compromises. People are greedy. You never apply for any visa and you want to claim free visa. That is greed. Two is that people are also fearful. Okay? Fear is another factor that leads to compromise. So I send an email. I say, okay, if you don't activate your account, your bank, I claim I'm coming from the bank. If you don't click this link to reset your password in the next 24 hours, your account will be wiped out of fear. So people click and begin to give their details. So I think the bottom line is that people need to begin to pay attention to the issues of digital activities, which is why I start by appreciating your station, because awareness and education is one of the most powerful ways to remedy this. So we must create that awareness from governmental perspective, from media houses, from every society, from every organization. We need to join hands to create more awareness, because people are not truly aware. If people are not aware, they will surely fall victim. And hackers have discovered that as long as there's a human being, because human beings are the weakest link in the value chain, as long as there's a human being, there will be compromise.
Right. Yes. So let's look at how then, because awareness is key, but then I'll also say self-awareness is also probably, better here. And so what are some of the things that as individuals we need to take note of? You mentioned that greed is one of the things that could push people to want to take advantage of what they did not even sign up for in the first place. And so as individuals, what kind of double checks should we make? What should we look out for in those emails when we get those emails? How can you identify that some of these emails are maybe generic or are just a clickbait for you?
Thank you so much. The first advice I would give is that when it comes to security, you must practice what is called zero trust by default. What that simply means that before you click, before you do anything, verify. Is a default formula. Before you click, verify. Because again, if you look at the way some of these things are coined, like phishing email, they come with urgency. So any email that creates serious urgency, like if you don't do it right now, you're going to die. If you don't do it right now, things will go bad. Then think twice. Okay? Two, if you see an email that comes with fear, that creates fear, think twice. If you see an email that creates we call it desire to help. So hackers can also profile that, okay, I want to help you. Okay? For instance, they say your platform is not secure. Your bank account is not secure. I want to give you help. Okay, click on the link, enter your details, then verify. But the bottom line is this: as long as there is a request, okay, to release your data, okay, then you must double check. Okay. Today you hear what is called double factor authentication. Right. Even on WhatsApp. You hear of WhatsApp bridges, where people call you, they're having meetings somewhere, and they ask to send your 2FA authentication. So you must enable 2FA authentication on different platforms. Okay. Because if I have your password and username, it's very easy for me to compromise your system. Okay. And this is where people need to pay attention. When you're logged into a certain site, for instance, Gmail or Yahoo, you're asked to enter your username, then your password. Now, at the point where you're entering your password, you see dotted line. Do you know that at that interface, that password is not yet secured? Okay. Until you click submit, then encryption now happens at transmission. So if I've sent you an email that says, okay, you've won visa to Dubai, click to download. You click it, and behind the scene, a malicious code has been downloaded and installed. We call them key loggers. Now, whatever you type on your key is being captured and can be sent back to me as a hacker. So if I've gotten your username and your password at the point where you're typing it, I can log into your account and compromise your account. But if you have what is called second factor authentication, like OTP, one-time password, the moment you log in, then you're being prompted to enter your OTP. You can't
Within a
log in
particular time.
a particular time. So the hackers, that OTP expires after a certain time. So even if the hackers have your password and your username, they can't log in. So these are some of the practices that people must, put in place to ensure that they are safe.
Sorry, Jibale, a follow-up to this will be, despite the fact that we have a lot of financial institutions still send emails to people that we will not ask you this question. We will not ask you to disclose your password. We will not deliberately send you a link to open, but yet we still have people falling prey to some of these things. So is it a question of people getting carried away, or is still this greed that you mentioned earlier, despite the fact that your bank, pre-warned you that we will not do this, we will not ask you to do this, but then people still fall prey when they get some of these malicious emails?
Very good question. And the point is that people will keep getting, they will keep falling prey. Like I told you, 80% of the data breaches come from human side. Hackers have understudied it, and they are aware that as long as there's a human being, there will be a potential breach.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, today you have about 3.4 billion phishing emails sent out every day.
Every day?
Every day, 3.4 every day.
Okay.
So as long as there's a human being there, there's a potential possibility of compromise, which is why I say that awareness, continuous awareness and education remains a very fundamental tool to reduce it. But again, people need to take responsibility for their actions, which is why the bank will send you an email, try to enlighten you. But again, people, especially in the country where we are, people take advantage of several situations. Today they want to give palliative. People will send an email that this institution is sending palliative.
Fill your details.
Fill your details. And because people are greedy or hungry or different factors, it's a human threat, they will definitely fall victim. But they must keep creating the awareness to raise the bar. Okay,
Abimbola almost took the question out of my mouth. My question is similar to what Abimbola put to you. Let's look at financial institutions. They are saddled with the responsibility of keeping our financial assets, but most times they are often the target of cyber criminals. Would you say that in terms of investment in cybersecurity, are they doing enough?
Well, for me, I would say there's always opportunity to improve. I can assure you from the place I sit, the financial institutions are doing a lot. A lot of investment has gone in from technical perspective, because again, if you look at cybersecurity, there are two pillars. One is what is called the ID security, which is where you talk about technical controls. Talk about firewall, VPN. Then you now talk about safety, which speaks to the human side. In as much as the financial institutions are investing in protecting the technology from that technical perspective, but again, don't forget there's a human side of it.
That will interface.
Interfaces with the platform. So if you look at what has happened today, people are falling victim. Their personal account are being compromised. Yeah, there are cases of institutions being compromised that exist, but again, I would say there has been a lot of investment, but of course there is need to invest more. But beyond that investment of financial institutions, I think also, like what you're doing right now, they must join hands together to collaborate, to create more awareness, so we can also raise the bar.
Right. So we've talked about what individuals should do. Let's talk about what organizations also need to do. What are some of the security measures that organizations need to take against breaches, like you've mentioned? And I know that, oftentimes when conversations like this come up, issues around ethical hacking will always come up. So let's look at what organizations also need to do to strengthen their systems from attacks or from, threats, and how does ethical hacking play a role here?
Okay, good question. So when you say ethical hacking, it's a very professional term that we use, just like you have the thief and the police, right? But they will always tell you that to catch a thief, you must know the trick of the thief, which is why you have the police. So the ethical hackers are people who actually I'm an ethical hacker, certified ethical hacker, by the way. So there are people who are trained professionally to be able to deal with, they play the role from defensive point of view.
Right.
The hackers play the role from attack point of view. But again, you must understand the trick of the attackers to do that. So I think for us, not just as an organization, but as an industry, we need to begin to encourage professionalism, people who have the skill. Because again, lack of skill also is a big issue.
Okay.
Today, you hear of the Jabba syndrome. Nigeria is losing a lot of professionals to different countries.
Right.
Okay. How do we ensure that we can also replenish that? I think we need to go back again to our university systems, okay, to ensure that part of these cybersecurity courses are embedded into the university program. That before they leave school, they are well equipped and they can easily integrate into the society. That's number one. Number two, organizations need to also ensure they don't run what is called out-of-date systems.
Okay.
Their systems must be patched.
Up to date.
Up to date,
Okay.
exactly. Because if their system is not up to date, there are potential loopholes that will be created that attackers can also use a malicious code to compromise their system.
Okay.
So ensuring that continuous update of system is very, very critical. The number three is what we're doing right now.
Okay.
There has to be deliberate effort by organizations to create continuous awareness within the organization, within the stakeholders ecosystem, and of course for their customers. If
Okay.
we do that, I believe we'll be on the right path to
Right.
reducing, not necessarily tackling or but
Yeah,
reducing.
I like how you said reducing
Exactly.
because it's once you get a step ahead, you have those people who are also bent on breaking they are also at your tail,
Yeah.
ensuring that as you move ahead, they are right there behind you, also trying to see how they can compromise.
Which brings us to the reason for why do people hack. People ask why do people hack. There are different reasons. People hack because they want to steal. That is like the default one. People also hack because they want to revenge.
Revenge what?
They are not interested in stealing, but they want to revenge.
Revenge what?
For a cause. They are fighting a cause. For
Okay.
instance, you
On
hear
the digital space.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So have you heard of state-sponsored attack before? They're not interested in the revenue or money, but they just want to revenge for a cause.
Okay.
Okay. So some people also hack, okay, just for the fun of it.
Right.
Just hacking, they are not interested in revenue or money. It's just a fun for them. So there are different reasons why people hack.
Okay.
But the point is that we must also have professionals who can also sit at the back end and ensure that they understand the trick of these guys and help us to prevent those attacks.
A funny question. Those who hack in Nigeria, do they hack for these reasons you mentioned, or do they hack because they just want to steal?
So I think, generally speaking, most people that hack in Nigeria, of course, they want to steal.
Thank you. So those other ones are for other countries where there are other targets for reasons, but the kind of people we have here are just for their own personal gains. Okay,
yeah.
Ajibola, your question.
Okay, tell us how things work this way. There was a particular movie I was watching recently, and a particular man used the profile picture and the information of the particular man to scam another woman elsewhere. So when we are putting our pictures and information out there, how disciplined should we be when it comes to the use of cyberspace? Because oftentimes we see so many emails, like you rightly pointed out earlier, and there's spams, and we just click or we forward.
I think it falls back to due diligence on the side of the users. Because again, if you don't pay, adequate attention, definitely you'll be deceived. For instance, there are platforms that enables me. I can actually send an email to you right now using her own email address.
Send an email to me
you using her own email address. Yes. The
So
exact email.
it looks familiar.
Yeah, the same email address you have, I can do that. But the point that if you respond to that email, it might not go back to her. Okay, so again, when you receive such email that you're not too sure, one, move your cursor to the link given to you or the email. You're going to see some funny link. Okay, you're going to see some funny link. Then two, again, if she sends an email right now, maybe after this event right now, you step out and you saw an email. She's making a demand. Oh, I just stepped out and something happened. Can you send me $100K or something? What should you do? Pick up your phone and call. It falls back to verify.
Okay.
We call it security, zero trust by default. You must always verify. The moment something sounds funny to you, verify. Don't be under tension. Even if the CEO of ATV sends an email that you should release your password, you should verify. Because it's your personal data. It doesn't belong to the CEO. It doesn't belong to the governor. You must verify. So I think people need to have that mindset that your personal detail, belongs to you should not be shared.
Okay, but what about the example that I cited now? The use of pictures and other information. The man was communicating with another woman in another part of the world, and the woman fell for it, thinking it was the same man, not knowing it was not the man.
Yeah, I think he just played on her intelligence again, her emotions. Okay, so if I use her face right now and I'm communicating to you, okay, there are certain requests or demand I will make that looks funny to you. But if you have that trust, anything goes, you'll fall victim. Okay, so again, people again need to pay attention. Okay, pictures can be used. Even today, you have AI. Okay, that creates, almost perfect real scenarios for you that will make you to believe that it's actually coming from her. Okay, so what happened is this: as things begin to evolve and change, I think we need to double our game in terms of the way we operate, in terms of paying attention, doing our due diligence. But the point is, always verify before you give out any detail. Okay. Verify before you release any money. Verify before you give out your personal detail. They are very, very sensitive to you. Always verify.
Okay. All right, let's look at policies that protect in Nigeria. I know that we do have, certain policies, especially in Nigeria at the moment. So some of those policies, how do they protect end users like ourselves? But very quickly before we take that, let's look at what happened yesterday. There was a breach on the Amazon platforms yesterday. So when you take a look at such such an issue where a lot of services were disrupted yesterday, could that be seen as a breach, or was it just was it a compromise, or was it just something that went wrong that put Amazon in the spotlight yesterday?
Well, we call it incident because again, when it comes to security, I mentioned safety before, I mentioned security. You must also plan for incidents. Okay. Because don't forget, there is no perfect system on earth. Right. So you must plan for what they call contingencies. Okay, which is where I talk about things like continuity, plan, okay, resilience. Because again, some years ago during COVID-19, I was advising an organization. They were actually on Amazon. If you remember in 2020 when they also had that downtime. Right. And I said, why do you have all your platforms on Amazon? Do you have a backup? And they just laughed at me. It was actually virtual. They laughed at me. I said, please make sure you have what is called disaster recovery. Okay. In case Amazon goes down, so you can fall back. Okay. Today, if you log in like Yahoo, right? You see Yahoo UK, yes. You see Yahoo
Ireland, yes, different.
So what they've done is that they can actually replicate their systems across board. If Yahoo UK goes down, they can fall back to their data in the other country. Okay. So I think that is what happens. So there could be downtime. Right. There is no 100% system here on earth. Right. Things could go wrong. Okay. Okay, so it's more of an incident, okay, that led to downtime. Right. Of course, when that happens, people can be locked out. Sure. Okay. Sometimes also it could be an attack, which they might not disclose to you, right?
For safety reasons.
For safety reasons. But the point is that we call it incident, which led to downtime and disrupted services. Okay, all right. So let's talk about policies. How are we protected as end users in Nigeria? Do we have policies that protect us, especially, from, as internet users, service providers? Are there policies, inclusive policies in Nigeria? Yeah, there are a couple of policies. For instance, you hear of the Cyber Crime Act. Right. Okay, which has begun to gain traction in recent times. If you look at that act, there are a couple of clauses or areas that actually protect people. For instance, talk about not recording private conversations. It protects end users also. They talk about the Data Protection Act of Nigeria. Okay. Is that the GDPR? GDPR, yes. Which is unique to individuals. Okay, because again, your personal data belongs to you. I shouldn't use your personal data for any purpose without your consent. Okay. I shouldn't take your email address or your phone number and begin to process it or begin to do some business without your consent. Okay. If I do that, you have the right to sue me. Okay, so that's a breach. That's a breach, exactly. So there are a couple of frameworks and policies all over in the country. But for me, what I think we need to do is that we need to be able to harness all of these policies, okay, which falls back to collaboration again. Okay, because today you hear of policy here, framework here, and different people are fighting the same cause. But again, we need to come together, collaborate, have a roundtable discussion, and be able to have adequate, framework and ensure that the rights regulator actually pursue those regulations and protect the end users.
Okay. Okay, as much as government is trying to protect us through the Cybercrime Act, like Abimbola rightly mentioned, as an individual, how careful should we be, or how often should we also change our password, and how should we string it in such a way that it will not be easy for those cyber criminals to penetrate our accounts?
Sorry, before you answer that, I'm sure let's quickly also let you know that what was beginning to receive live feeds from the events going on there at LASU. So any moment from now, we will be signing out of the studio. But let's quickly bring this conversation to a close while we hand over to the outside broadcast crew. Ajibola, you can quickly wrap up on
Yes, thank you so much. There are password rules, okay? There are password rules that you must follow. Number one is that ensure you combine capital letters to your password, small letters, numeric, alphanumeric, special characters, okay? Because there are tools that can be used to crack your password. And if you're using your first name or your dog name or whatever, it's very easy to crack. But if you're able to combine several, characters, then make it harder. Then again, ensure you have a length, okay? Before, it used to be minimum of 8, but right now, ensure you have higher lengths of your password. But that being said, it's important that you also practice frequent password change.
How about people who forget things easily? Yeah, I have to write it somewhere.
It's a common issue, but what I advise you to do is this. Very simple. You have Gmail accounts, you have Yahoo account, you have LTV account.
So use one password.
What you can, no, don't use one password. What you can do is, let's say your name is Fumi at 1234 #. Then you can put at the end,
Okay.
Yahoo, maybe Y. Fumi, go to Gmail, Fumi at 123 G.
Okay.
Then we go to Lagos Television L. So it's hard, okay, but you know there's something unique. But don't use the same password across board. If you do that, if I compromise your Yahoo, that means I can actually compromise your Gmail.
Yeah. All right, very quickly, finally, before we allow you go this morning, what would be your advice, of course, to people? Now, you've said one of them is to ensure that you change your password periodically. But then what are some of those things that either as an individual or a company or a corporate organization is common to us all when it comes to safety and security on the digital space?
Okay, a couple of them which we've discussed. Number one is the fact that ensure you follow best practice. Best practice in terms of password management. Best practice in terms of how you interact with the digital space. Okay? From human side of view or customer's point of view, pay attention to details. Okay? Don't give your personal details out. Always verify. From the organization point of view, ensure that your systems are patched. Okay? Create more awareness. Hire skilled hands to be able to help you protect and, of course, do the right investments. I believe if we do all of these things and collaborate, we'll definitely be on a pathway to securing our ecosystem.
All right, that's the much your take on the conversation this morning. Thank you so very much, Mr. Edward Onyenweaku, cybersecurity expert, for finding time to be with us on the program this morning. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
That's the much your take with our guest this morning. We'll take a quick break. The conversation returns shortly.